Good morning, 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 everybody. How is everybody doing? Oh, shit, my microphone is doing the thing. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Adjust it. Behave yourself. Stay. Yes, no, Vanya, I pinned you because you are right. You are so fucking right. Living Tombstones has some amazing music that is, like, really, really good. That last song, by the way, Drunk, is so fucking real. As somebody who has had a drinking problem in the past, I like that it addresses some things that a lot of things don't address about alcoholism. They're like, oh, you're dependent on it. It's like, no, no, no. So often people just, feel better in their life because they're drinking. And, like, it's not I need it to survive. It's just like, oh, I want to feel my best I possibly can, so let me just drink. And it gets really, really easy to be doing that all the fucking time. Anyways, hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Azalea, get some sleep. I hope work was okay. But yes, Living Tombstones is really good. Even if they do make some weird music with like video game stuff, but even when their video game stuff is made well, they are good musicians. I refuse to say they're not. Good morning, Dar. Thank you for getting first. Thank you, Keeper, for getting second. Thank you, M, for getting third, proving that chat does actually know how to count. Some of chat knows how to count. Good morning, Lily. How you doing? Good morning, Keeper. Good morning, M. I already said hello to M. Ocean, how you doing? How you feeling, Ocean? You doing all right? How have things been going? Good morning, Moreau. Good morning, Gangsta Nix. Good morning, Bun. Good morning, Aura. Lovely to see you. I already said good morning to Vanya. I think I did, but if I did not, I'll say good morning to Vanya again, because Vanya has some legit opinions on music. Good morning, Astral Rose. Good to see you. Good morning, Leon. Rare to see you up this early. What are you doing up? Good morning, Lilith Queen. Lovely, lovely, lovely to see you. Good morning, Celesta Moose. Hello, hello. I'm surprised you're awake. Good morning. I think that's everybody. I already said good morning to Azalea. Oh, good morning, Lumi. Good morning, Lumi. How you doing? How's cosplay going? You should update your AOTY. What's AOTY? What's AOTY? I don't know what that is. I'll play another song while we get ready today. Oh, okay. All right, I'll let you enjoy your sleep. Get some sleep, Ocean. Thank you for coming by. Mwah. Lumi, are you still doing cosplays of VTubers? I'm just saying, once I get my official model, you should cosplay me. Just saying. That is how you know you've made it, chat. You know you've made it when somebody's cosplaying as you. Goal. Okay, plan for today. I may not do an afternoon stream today. I do have a lot of stuff that I need to be doing, because I'll be going on a little trip very soon, which I've talked about before. I will be doing 2-hour just chatting streams during my trip, which will be starting next Wednesday. Nodar. I'll be doing just 2-hour just chatting streams starting on next Thursday. And I'll be coming back on Tuesday. So it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They're just going to have shorter morning streams. God damn it, Dar. I swear you change it. Whenever I ask you anything. You're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, yes to never eating food ever again. And I'm like, no. And you're like, no to eating food. Got it. You hate me, Dar. You hate me. You just want to put all your blame on me. I get it. I understand. But fight me, Dar. What do I say? Gamer subs. Are you telling me I should take a dry spoon of gamer subs right now? Are you telling me I should take a dry spoon of gamer subs right now? I can totally do that. Yeah. Got it. Taking a dry spoon of gamer subs. Got it. Thank you, Aura. Oh, God, it's so bad. It's so sour. Why would you have me do this? I can't believe you all pressured me into eating a dry spoon of gamer subs again. Okay, 1 or 2. I don't know, 1. Fuck. Uh, 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 we're okay. We're okay. Thanks for the hydrate. Okay. Thank you for the stretch. Good morning, Lola. And what did I say, Ashley? You still look divine. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry if I sound a bit out of it, Jen. I did just wake up, and I'm very, very tired. I'm drinking coffee this morning. So I took a shot of G-Subs, dry on my tongue, and then I drank some coffee. Ooh, chat. I always forget about the song. God damn it. Wait. Chat, we're going to listen to one of my favorite songs, and then we're going to get started with the game I'm playing today, which is Static something. It is. This, chat, is one of my all-time favorite songs. Fine, I'll hydrate with G-Subs water. Chat, do you want to watch the music with you? Do you want to watch the music video? Chat, do you want to watch the music video? Chat, need an answer quickly. Chat, should we watch the music video? Hey, good job, Mara. I'm proud of you. We're starting over. We're watching the music video. Give me a second. My head's so big. Do. Da. Watch my life like it's a movie. Had to watch it twice. A boy looks like a girl, and a girl looks like a pony. She rides it all day long, in between my toes. No, Discord, 1 second. Oh, it's doing that thing. Why is it doing the thing? There it goes. All right, chat, you ready? You ready? We're going to listen to a song. We're going to watch the video together. Do. There you go. Yay! Strawberry cheesecake. Yay! I'm proud of you, Dar. It's important where they get naked. Yes, it is. Just kidding. We watched the video. Anyways, how you doing? Da. In between my clothes, every night is purified. She don't do the dance no more. In the rubber meets the road, in between my toes. This is Toe Jam. Toe Jam by the BPA and David Bryan, feat Dizzy Rascal. Hello, Neko. This is Toe Jam, which it's a song, one of my favorite songs. An application if you move your feet. Hey, Neko, thank you so much for the follow. How you doing? Mm-hmm. Do you know what's funny? So I used to live in Italy, and when I lived in Italy, this song was on MTV. And MTV was one of the few places I could watch things in English. So I'd watch MTV all the time. And This is just on the TV. But there's significantly worse things on European TV. Nudity is much less of an issue there. The amount of ads I've seen, especially on late night European TV, has been very interesting. There was one ad I saw as like a young child of like a phone sex line, and it's just a girl pushing her tits up against the inside of a phone booth, and I'm like, that's an advertisement, all right. I know, sorry, Chad, I was a child. If I could have chosen not to be a child at some point in time, I would have chosen not to be a child. But I had to go through that awkward phase between 1 to 20-something. Imagine being a child. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. I stop moving. Okay, chat. Are you ready? We're going to play a game today. It's a game that actually looks really, 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 really fun. I hope I installed it already. Hi, Corina. How you doing? Cornea, not Corina. Hello, Cornea. Can't do it. Sorry. We're playing Static Dread. Static Dread just came out recently. It's one of those games. You know, one of those games. It's one of that has the stuff in it. The game games. You know, the games with the games inside of them. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, right, chat? The game games. I'll be honest, I have no idea what this game's about. I saw 5 minutes of the game, maybe. I still couldn't figure out what was going on. And thank you for shouting out. Thank you for shouting out. It just looks interesting. It is horror themed. It doesn't look too spooky. It's more of a things happen and you do things kind of game. And yeah, oh, that's that screen. We're gonna put that away. Definitely. Horror. It's me, the whore. Why is my head big? There you go. Okay. Ah! Victory. Peter, the horse is here. Oh, I don't scare you. See, I laugh at horror a lot, but I also all the time cry. No, I also do get jump scared pretty easily because I'm paying so little attention to what I'm doing. Wait, where's my logo? Chat, how are you supposed to know who I am? How are you gonna know who I am if I don't have my logo? Where's my logo? Who took my logo? Wait, that's chat. Logo. Bloop. All right, we're ready, chat. Why is my head big? You don't know who I am? No, please. Please, chat. Please, chat. Please. I can't do this on my own. Don't eat my logo. A powerful aura has enveloped the globe. How am I making you tired? I am so energetic right now. Hello, Chub Kraka. Who's the stinky doggy? Chubb, I know that you didn't say it like this, but why do I imagine you going, who's a stinky doggy? Who's a stinky doggy? Is it you? Are you a stinky It's me. Smelly. You're smelly. Stinky. Oh god, I forgot Twitch chat. Overstimulated much. Me with my, yeah, no, always. Smelly, don't. Why you gotta call me Smelly, chat? You smell like raspberries and vanilla. You always smell like fruit. For fuck's sake. Okay. Yeah. There you go. There's your fucking. I quit reading chat. Peter the horror is here. Peter the horror is here. 5 minutes. God damn it. All right. What do I smell like? I mean, you, Azalea, smell like flowers. Did the horse girl anime win? A powerful aura has enveloped the entire globe. Due to the issue with navigation, port authorities have reactivated the old lighthouse. I already did Keeper's Redeem. I already did it. Vanya, I just did it. You think I just nyah-nyah'd for myself? No, I nyah-nyah'd for somebody lovely. You're chosen to be its keeper. Aurora. Oh, Aurora! Not Aura. Aurora. You right. I'm sorry about that. I tried. Daddy, why can't I see you? Is our phone broken? For now, we can only hear him. Don't worry. It'll be fixed soon. Daddy has a very important job. All right, chat. If you can get me a 3D model of a brick, I will permanently allow tits. I'll permanently allow tits. Twitch integrated throwing system, and y'all can brick me every morning. All right? Stop bricking. Every frequency will be on every evening will be on frequency 237. We love you. There we go. Stop bricking. No, not titties. Tits. Chat, my viewership went down. Let me grow some titties. Seems like someone is knocking at the front door. Hello. Oh, well, here's the last box. It's definitely everything. These supplies should last you for a while. I'll be back in 2 days with a new shipment. Hope you'll still be around. What am I supposed to do? Keep an eye on the lighthouse. That's it. How? Beats me. My job's simple, to bring supplies. And just unpack everything and eat up so you don't starve at night during shifts. All right, I'll go check on the lighthouse. Wait a second, what about money? The port gave me your payment for 2 days ahead. Here, take this. See, you got a couple of days. Nobody lived in this lighthouse for a long time, but it's a good one. Always served us well. TITS, I believe, does require 3D brick. Good morning, Leon. Good morning, Casey. How you doing, Casey? Well, take care. It's been getting late. I need to set sail, and you've got work to do. Perk energy. If unlocked, energy is consumed slower during the night. Eat some snacks to unlock this perk. Yay! No, I don't fucking find me a rather comfortable locker. Yeah, I'm reading. What do you mean bro is blabbering? Fine, chat. I'm not talking anymore. No more talking. Batman followed me. Batman followed me when I said I'm not gonna be talking anymore. That's insane. Hello, Batman. How you doing, Batman? We're stuck in Southern Voice for another 2 minutes. Peter, Batman's here. But in the archive, stuff that workers left. To stop running to Batman for safety. You can't escape. Did I research this? Check it. Ooh. A pack of pistachios is found in one of the jackets. I know. I can't stop babbling. Batman. Chat, I want to talk about something stupid. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the glottal stop. Chat, do you know what the glottal stop is? It is a thing in the English language that a lot of people do that they don't realize they do. So, the glottal stop. Now, chat, I want y'all to say the word Batman. You might notice something. When two consonants follow each other, they don't get pronounced in the English language. Batman? No, it's Batman. But because of a glottal stop, which is a part of the English language, you say Batman. The T's gone. Now, there's a lot of words like that. So yes, I want y'all to pay attention to that. Next time you say a word, realize how many times you lose the T or the hard consonant sounds. No, Batman. Batman, 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 Batman. You don't go Batman because it slows you down. Yeah. All right, hear you loud and clear. I think it's interesting. Finally, what took you so long? Shit's about to start. All right, we're back to normal voice. Oh, let me actually look it up real quick. I need to look up the other. Exactly. It's like you saying it British. Glottal stop. Oh, setback is another one because people will not say the T a lot of times. Fitness, because we remove the T. Latvia. It's Latvia. Clipboard. Clipboard. Background. What is your native? Anyways. British. Exactly, British. British. Let's make one thing clear right away. I'm the boss here, and you call me chief. I don't care who you were, all the ports before all this. Now you're demoted. I might have a cup of tea. Oh, sorry. Those were other words with glottal stop. Because of the consonant sounds, a harsh consonant sound like a T gets removed, so it's Latvia instead of Latvia. What was the word we were trying to find the proper pronunciation right for? I don't win. Now? Really? Very interesting. Fuck you, Chief. Oh, now you're demoted to button pusher at the Lighthouse, and for some reason the port decided to waste a fortune on you. They even dragged some reporters in here. I'll send you the clippings. Seafaring. Seafaring is safe and sound. This afternoon, the port superintendent announced an emergency reactive above the attendant station. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Good article. Chamomile. Chamomile? Oh. Wait, when was this a thing? Chamomile. Chamomile. I don't remember a lot of things. It was all System 04 with automation running the navigation, but no, I've got to sit here all night now praying nothing goes wrong. I'll get back to work. 2:37. Okay. Chamomile is a tea. It is a tea. It's a tea. It's a tea. It's a good tea. Good tea. It is a good EPT. Vanya, look at DMs. Vanya, don't look at your DMs. Your DMs are going to try to murder you now. Ooh, money. Vanya, I've put a jump scare in your DMs. Get ready. They're coming for you. It's not important. I don't believe you. I believe it's super important. I think you're going to try to kill me if I don't read it. Chat, be careful. Keeper will try to murder you if you don't read their DMs. They'll sneak up on you and stab you in the back. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Anyways. See, Keeper admitted it. is working at Lighthouse. The Lighthouse didn't need anyone before. It used to run by itself. The aura messed up everything. Oh, I suddenly feel really tired. I don't know what happened. Chat, we're gonna take another shot of. Ooh, I have Mountain Dew, the best breakfast drink. The best part of waking up is drinking Mountain Dew. The best part of waking up is drinking G-Sups directly from the spoon. Ah. Okay, I'm awake now. How did that miss my tongue and hit my nostrils? It hit my sinuses exclusively, and I can now taste G-Sups in my nose. It's burning my sinuses. How? I'll drink water. Ow, fuck. It actually hurts. Okay, okay. Can we get much higher? What am I doing? Oh, hey, thank you for the follow. Spider Queen. London Spider Queen. I'm sorry. No. We got to talk about this. Excuse me. What? What do you mean, Spider Queen? That's terrifying. Why is the Queen of Spiders here? Oh, that's terrifying. Good morning, Spider Queen. I hope you're doing well. Does that mean... Wait, does each nation have a Spider Queen? Okay, chat, we're fine. We're fine, chat. The Spider Queen is in London. Well, is your wife the Spider Queen? Are you a normal man married to the Spider Queen? Mm-hmm. Now that you've got the ship signal, you need to move the request navigation form. Hang on, printing it out. Test sheet for you. Okay. The guys at the port control prep some special forms with a map of the region. The fax machine has a module that picks up the automatic radar signals. Oh, yay. You know, no. Okay, so chat, there's this comic where this guy is married to the spider monster lady. She's kind of cute, actually. And she, like, takes good care of him the entire time. But, like, he sees it wrong. And like, she looks like a normal lady to him. And it's just very interesting. It's very interesting. I love the comic. It's more of like a spider lady monster. I wouldn't say like half, but kind of. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? I wasn't paying attention, chat. Spoop. Chat, we gotta look up the comic real quick. Give me a second. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. I can't find it. Anyways. Enjoy your call. All right, let's take a look. Okay, it will do for now. We have a small flow of ships, mostly fishing boats and passenger ships. My job is simple. See which port the ships request and guide them there. If you mess up a route or miss a ship, it'll make sure they dock your pay heavily for it. 2 more keepers to rotate shifts with you sailed out. To you in the evening. Any other questions? All right, here we go. Okay, and we can't let anybody in. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Hello, hello. Good evening, Keeper. I didn't expect to see you, a living soul out here. Name's Jackie, captain of the Sturgeon. You've probably heard of me. They say I'm the best fisherman. Nice to meet you. You two, of course, it's real important to know the man who will be guiding you into port. I brought you a little gift. A gift! It's the journal of the old lighthouse keeper. This is probably not a problem. Something awful happened to the first keeper, so bad they didn't send anyone out here for a long time after that. They say there's 3 of these journals, and if you collect them all, you'll learn what happened to the first keeper. Yay! Thank you for the lurk. I really, really appreciate it. Chat, the spider's getting away. Put it underneath the cup. Why are you awake? I'm heading out at dawn. Can't get any shut-eye as usual. Maybe it's the aura or just nerves. Heard from some sailors that a new island popped up near... Don't go to the new island. Do you have a research ship? Not exactly. I've got a friend at the university. She hinted it'd be a good idea to scout out the new island. What if the lost Atlantis resurfacing? Believe in sailor tales, believe it or not. It's exciting, ain't it? Might even make more money off the discovery. Is it dangerous? Okay. All right. I had the first keeper. I refuse. Hello, London. Fine, I'll call you London. Have fun, London. Mind if I come in? I promise I won't touch anything. That's not allowed. It's really important to me. Without this, the sea might not welcome me. Damn it, chat. This is not really a water game. No, we stay in the tower the whole time. I'm letting him. Well, I'll be upstairs. Drop by if you've got a minute. Oh, do you know each other, Lola? Keeper, what have you up here? Oh, very nice, very nice. Yeah, I want to explore the area. Okay. Chubb, more than half the people here are in committed married relationships or dating. We've dropped the anchor to turn the ship, but the momentum threw me into the rocks. I know, it's sad. I am also single, Chubbs. I understand. I like this guy. Yeah. Interesting. Like, for instance, chat. Anyone want London? Hey, yo, hey, yo. What the fuck is this? Stop leaving weird stuff on my walls. They're my walls. $39? You selling your partner for $39 is funny. Adjust the antenna. Okay, interesting. That's good. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for the follow. I'm British, so I get a discount on London. Thank you for the follow, Dark Heart. Oh, we already went up here. All right, now I want to check what this is. Oh, look at this. Hello, hello. Uh-huh. What is this doing? Okay, that's fine, I think. Oh, we're making signal, right? Signal's fine? Yeah, okay. How do I go back down? And down we go. Sorry, chat. I'm getting very distracted. There's so much stuff in this place, and I just want to look at everything. Oh, a ship is waiting for your signal. What does it mean? Oh, to connect with the ship, press the search frequency using up. Okay, okay, okay. Interesting. Plus tax. Not that way. Yay, ship signal received. Okay, cool. Do you copy? This is the Captain Drake from the Coast Guard. We're patrolling the islands. We came across a few sailors. Someone stole their ship and left them adrift on the small boat. Heard anything suspicious of the radio? Someone used the ship's call signs but didn't know they were to sail. I don't know. Radar, comms, nothing's working with that ore in the sky. Feels like we've thrown back to the Stone Age. We'll try to catch them the old-fashioned way. Sorry for bothering you. Is that it? I guess that's why my old radio still works. Must have been sitting in the safe. Okay. Wait, I feel like I fucked something up, chat. There's definitely a ship there. What am I missing, chat? We might need to restart this game because I was not paying attention how to do this. Stop looking at the window! Ah! Thank you for the lurk. Ships must be guided. If the port is not on the map, guide them back to Blackford. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, we got this. We got this. Get some sleep. Where do you want to go? From Arkham to Old Harbor. Okay. Let's go an easy long way about. Okay. Course confirmed. Heading to port. Yay! Sad to come in. Do you copy? Barely hear you. Sorry, I think I managed to fix it. We're having issues with the electronics. This is Captain Z of transporting ship Pluto requesting routing to port. Any issues on the ship? During the order, all the boxes started glowing and shimmering with every color of the rainbow. What exactly were you carrying? Microelectronics, phones, tabs, smart devices fully loaded. All satellite navigation systems have malfunctioned. The order makes it almost impossible to navigate by the stars. Chat, he wants to go to New Orleans. He wants to go to New Orleans. How the fuck am I supposed to... Aurora! Yes, sorry. H. Wait, what am I supposed to do? He wants to go to New Orleans. There's no New Orleans. What? How am I supposed... What do you... I'm so confused. Alistair? What do you mean, Alistair? All right, 1 second. I gotta Google this. I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong, because I know I said don't send them somewhere if they're going blah 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 blah, but he's going to New Orleans. Okay. Give me a second. Oh wait, they said send it to the captain. The captain is in Blackfort. Okay, yeah. I remember this now. Okay. Why am I EPs? The interference. Not much. Don't let anyone gaze upon the light. It's yours. Yours for now. Interesting. I will consume you. Okay, do I need to just eat more food? Is that what's happening? Where's my food, chat? There we go. Where's the door? We're still figuring out this game. It's fun, though. It's cool. I like this. I like this. Who do we have here? Take this fish and eat up. Burning energy all night at night. Wear you down. And fish got all the good stuff. Eat it to stay awake. All right. Good guy. I like that guy. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Something's happening. Where's the light switch? Light switch. Lighthouse is down. We gotta go check out the light. Who keeps fucking with the lights? Okay, where is the lighthouse? Where is the lighthouse? We gotta go to the lighthouse, chat. I will not let you die, Keeper. You're starting to scare me, Keeper. Are you feeling all right? Too much is at stake. I must explore that island for Misty. Interesting. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I think we're good. Yay, we're good, we're good, we're good. Phone, stop making noises. Okay, we're gonna check low. Where is it? Aha, there it is. Baka. Those bastards hijacked a small yacht and packed it full of some weird drug from the looks of it. This is a ship that was bringing 2 more keepers to your lighthouse. Oh! Oh, Azalea, you're such a good girl. Always such a good girl. They're going to... Okay. Both keepers are dead. Oh, good, chat. We're the only ones. Erniega. Azalea, you are such a good girl. Always such a good girl. Feel sorry for them. Seems like you'll be working alone for a while. The boat captain's alive. They tied him up and hid him in the cargo hold. Okay. Let's get them in the right place. Nope. 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 Aurora. Keeper's still alive. Keeper is alive. Shush. Keeper's fine. We're good. We're good. Be eating some foods. Chat, the doors just did stuff. The doors moved, chat. Yeah. What? Wait. Did I lose money? No. You can't lose money. What? Oof. Chat, they took my money. All right, have fun, Azalea. Today I stepped onto the stone steps of the lighthouse for the first time. The waves crashed against the rocks as if whispering stories. I'm the first keeper of this lighthouse, and I hope it will become my family estate. What do you mean? Immediately upon arrival, I wrote a letter to Mary and the children describing the best way to get here. Of course, she's always complains about my obsession with the sea, but when she sees the view from here, it's hard to knock the love of sea foam out of an old captain. The Doors is a band. Yeah. Oh, well, here I am again, so Wiki, everything in order? That's all right. That's the spirit. Listen here. I'm what folks call a fisherman. My trade's catching fish and selling to them hungry ones. Since you're new around these parts, Wiki, I'll give you a good price. What do you sell? I never really thought about it. I'm not a storekeeper. For all the stuff you go to the old man, I only got fish. Yeah, sure, I'll buy a fish. Chat, what kind of fish do we want? We have $400. Fish! We get fish! We get fish! Haha, we're fishing! We're going fishing, chat. We're going fishing. You and me. We're fishing. We're fishermen now. Oh, it's not gonna let me fish. No, fuck your radio. I want to go fish. Let me fish. Where can I fish? Chad, do you have any plans for today, by the way? What do you want to do today? Anything fun? Anything exciting? How's my bedroom? Or y'all it's going to be boring all day. Sorry, I got distracted. Rot? Don't rot. Nothing to do. What do you mean nothing to do? Y'all not go out. Go out. Go see a movie or something. You know what, chat? I'm going to go see a movie today. Fuck it. I haven't been out in who knows how long. I'm going to go see a movie. Oh, what watch along? The watch along? Do I watch along? What's Star doing for the watch along? Take a hike, Gene. Literally, I would have to go all the way out to the mountains. I don't really have time for that. Okay, was it 2:37? Wait a second. I can manually adjust this 2:37. Come in, Lighthouse. Hello, family. Forcing the gremlin to clean. I don't... What do you mean I hate... What? No. What do you mean? I'm so confused, chat. I'm so confused. Why are we bullying Keeper? Why am I bullying Keeper? I'm not bullying Keeper. What? I don't hate you. What did I miss? Oh, well, you can't keep me. I'm my own free spirit, chat. I'm a man in a box. Interesting. How can you, it's illegal to own people, chat. You can't own me. You're not allowed to own me, chat. No jokes. Don't you dare pass it for me, chat. I'm gonna die tomorrow. Fuck, that was dark. No, I'll live forever, chat. It's fine. You're playing Keeper? I am Keeper. No, I am Keeper. Well, prove it. Prove you've cursed me. Keeper, I am you. You are me. We are all together, sitting on a lunchbox, waiting for the world to do. $210. Okay. Wait, how can I... I'm so confused, chat. Where's the lighthouse? What am I missing? Excuse me. Ugh. Wait, how do I get to the lighthouse? I'm so... What? Am I insane? Was there not a door to the lighthouse? Is this... That's the lighthouse door, right? Did I... Huh? Huh? Was it... How... Did I miss that door like 10 times? I'm so confused. I am so confused. What the hell did I do? Thank you for the lurk, Neeks. Thank you. Hey, Neeks, you want to go hiking with me? Okay. Mm. Come on, Neeks, let's go hiking. I'm ready. I'll see you in the mountains. Now we're going to put this here. Perfect. Okay. Go eat some. Yeah, if you haven't eaten anything, chat, please eat something, okay? Food is important to you. Pink, thank you for the resub. I appreciate it, Pink. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, car broke. Hey, there's the village. I wonder what the village is up to. Vanya, you need to start streaming again. Vanya, you legally need to start streaming again. Ah. So I said so. Hi, Neeks, what's up? Keeper's picking on you. Oh, sweetie. You somehow supported me last night. When I called to you the first time, I was ready to give up and then head back to port. Calling to you, I decided to do another sweep around the islands. It turns out it was worth it. Okay, we need to figure out who's covering for these smugglers at the port. Deep Creek, but I guess you already have the instructions. Deep Creek, okay. Game's kind of loud, isn't it? Chat, we're going to turn down the game a little bit. There you go. Send me something. I'm ready. Heading into port now. We'll be in touch. There it is. Seems fine. Let's not talk about it. Okay. Freight transport. So you know what that means? Going to Deep Creek. Good news, guys! Every night at 3:10, I hear them come in. Yay! Good news! We can be bees, chat. Chat, we can be bees. Let's see what you've made of it. Can you save those you've taken responsibility for? Can you keep light burn? Because the darkness, it'll be waiting for you. Wait. What's happening? What's happening, chat? What's happening? Ah! It's getting dark. What the fuck? Ho ho, good evening, Keeper. The darkness near the lighthouse was so thick I feared my lantern would go out. Oh, I could do that. Chat, you're good beans. You're such good beans, aren't you? You're the best beans. Hi, Nix, how you doing? Okay. All right, he angered the light. Cutting with BF. Oh! Give me apple crumble, please. What'd you send me? 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 No. Pink, that looks really good. Pink, that looks really good. That looks really good. Oh, sorry. Let me stretch. All right. Frick. All right, we gotta go turn the lighthouse back on. Keeper, stop dying. Thank you for the lurk. All right, we're good. What's quiet except for the odd noises in the cargo hold. Maybe rats. Okay. We'll take him straight to Deep Creek. There we go. Hey, no demon drawings. No demon drawings. Chat, which one of you is drawing demon drawings? I know one of you is drawing demon drawings. Which one of you is it? Why are you singing? Interesting. Show them wonders all around, but trouble's grasp now slows our troop. I beg you, guide us to the ground. All right, we send in a Blackford. Creepy. Hi, Maka. How you doing, Maka? What's up? Someone's calling me. God damn it. Okay, Serasio. Hi. Thank you for the follow, Robin. How you doing? Welcome. Mwah. At first they tried to shut me out as usual, but the dean stepped in. You've seen the sheriff's eyes. I'll expose all of them. What? That was weird. That was very weird. How you doing, Robin? How's your day going? Good, I hope. Oh, I have to click the fishing pole to fish. I've learned new things today, chat. What are you doing out here alone? Where are your parents? You have interesting eyes. Don't be a demon in my wall, Moreau. Stop it. There's something in them. Someone's looking through them. Someone else. Did she come here to break the fourth wall? Oh, shit. But he kept talking and talking. Sorry to bother you, Keeper. We got lost during our evening walk. The boy can't sleep. We're going now. Jesus. Okay. That ain't scary. I'm sure it's fine. But thank you for the follow. Greatly appreciate it. Ship signal. Lighthouse come in. Yacht luxury is speaking. Guide me to... There it is. The ship bringing ember to the city. Kites of glowing joy clouding our minds. Send it to me, Keeper. Protect the city from this plague. Destroy this yacht and everything inside.
A regular yacht with a cargo hold full of glowing poison. A regular yacht with a captain hoping you won't notice anything. A regular yacht docking at a major city in the dead of night during curfew. I see everything. I'm giving you a chance, Keeper. A chance to take your fate, the fate of your loved ones, into your hands. Go on, save them from that new drug. Destroy the ship. Give me that yacht or Ember will flood the streets. You've been warned.
What? Of course not. I was just out at sea and now decided to head back to port. What are you doing at sea in the middle of the night? Doesn't the curfew apply only to land? I'll dock at Blackfort and get some sleep. Why the rush? Chat, here's the option. Do we send him to Blackfort or do we send him to the demon? Do we send him to Blackfort, chat, or do we send him to the demon? Flip a coin. Who we doing? What we doing? But Keeper, I love your walls are so warm. Send him to the demon. Send him to the demon it is. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we need to.
You finally understood. They're yours. You decide. Feels good to be in control, doesn't it? Enjoy it while you can.
Oh, it was only $30. It was only $30. I'll take it. Exactly. Don't be a demon in the walls. We're taking them to the yard. Both were unconscious. Notify the sheriff they were attacked near 35 on Hope Street. Okay. Oh. All right, set into Blackfort. Here we go. Nice. Playhouse is off. Go figure it out. It's either the switch or the lamp. Without the light, you won't get the ship very far. Ah, damn it. Keeper, stop turning off. Oh, no. I don't think we're going to make it. I think we're getting 2 EPs. I think we're getting 2 EPs, chat. Respond. Oh, God. Finally, shift is over. Thank God. All right. They're going to bed and leave. Yay. We made it, chat. We did it. Woo. Today I received a letter from Mary. The ship should be here in 2 weeks. I've started to settle into the Lighthouse. The villagers are helping me, some of them donating their unwanted belongings. Life on such a remote island is difficult and dangerous. The village elder says that it is especially difficult in winter. There's almost no food left, but with my experience in trade and my late father's fortune, I think we can create paradise here. Paradise? What? What kind of paradise is this man expecting living out here? Hello? Oh, good. Finally. Jesus. Where have you been? I've been waiting for my snacks. I've been best heading back before the sun, but first thing, got a couple more things delivered to port. Payment. Yay, money! But I do have something else for you. Key to the generator room. Yay! Key to the generator room! Keeper, I can get deeper inside of you now. So what's new in the city? It's almighty suspicious, Keeper. There's less Ember around for sure. But folks are on edge. Food is scarce. Bunch of pharmacies shut down. Looters roam at night. Got a board. Up the doors real tight. And now there's talk of some monster showing up. What if the folks in the city start turning into mutants? Do you have a family? Nah. You know, I've lived alone all my life. Moved here when I was still a student. I know, I can realize Keeper's not paying attention. Show me. Are you hiding in my shadows? Ooh, more money. Okay, we need more food. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Oh, do we buy a coffee pot? Okay, chat. Eeny, meeny. Do we buy? I feel like a coffee pot would be really good to buy early on. Maybe as like a last ditch effort. Okay, we'll buy a cassette player. We'll buy some food. Chat, we can go fast now. Chat, we can go fast. No, it's not a good. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to be hiding in my walls or in my shadows or anywhere in, for that matter. Chat, you should not be doing that. How dare you? It's fishing time. We got this, chat. I fucked up. Okay. Give me fish. Aha! Yay! Missed it. Yay. You don't want a house? Okay, you know what? Fine, fine. Chat, everybody can move in. Everyone's allowed to move in now. Who's moving in first, though? Only one person at a time. Nope, that's nothing there. Oh, thank you, Ninx. I appreciate that. You take on this attic? Wait, do I have to say it to myself? Do I have to say good Gene? Good Gene. You're such a good Gene. Where'd it go? That was weird. You're such a good Gene. Such a good Gene. Oh, I guess we're good. All right, that's enough. We goddamn fish. Wait, did we not get fish? Oh, there's my fish. Perfect. Okay, let's see what's on the radio. What was I supposed to do? Not just to see. Interesting. All right, chat, we gotta find our wife. Where's my wife? She's around here. Wait. My wife's number's 237. Got it. Where's my wife, chat? Chat, where's my wife? Oh my god, wait a second. Wait a second. Since when is this an option? Since when can I do this? for fuck's sake. I didn't realize I could be doing that this entire time. Come in, family. Come in, family. Oh, no. I'm all right, but I've come down with something. I don't like it. She's been out with energy for 2 days, and that's... Oh, shit. Of course I get one. How was I supposed to know that I was gonna... I didn't mean to make my daughter sick. That's not fair. I didn't realize I could send the monster anywhere else. From now on, we're sending all the monsters to the sheriff, chat. Demon drugs. Someone's calling on the radio. Okay. I'm keeping you safe. You didn't eat my wife? Why would you try to eat my wife? Oh, by the way, Keeper, we can get deeper inside of you now. I can enter the generator. No, not allowed, chat. No clipping. Canceling all clipping. Clipping's not allowed, chat. Ho ho, Keeper. Good evening. The sturgeon didn't stop today. I'm afraid you were right about the darkness. We need to wait for the ship, and after that, well, the sea will guide us. Just wanted to say, when he gets back in touch, let me know, will ya? All right, 388.3. We're looking out for the surgeon, chat. What is going on? I hear crazy noises. Okay, that's fine. Still good, still good. Three guys were walking down the street after curfew like zombies, barely moving their legs. Two officers tried to stop them and they tossed them aside like nothing. Crazy. You're crazy, M. M, fight me. M, you and me, let's go. Everything alright? Seems sound like the wind is whispering. Okay, they're fine. Fishing boat. Arkham, so they go to Blackford. Oh, shit. Oh, wow. Oh, wowie wow. I should do. You would win? You would win, M? Fight me. Right now, M. Let's go. M, prove it. Prove it to me. Someone pick my breakfast. Oh, yeah, Leon. Pancakes. Pancakes and bacon. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes. First you take some bacon and you put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. This is my last entry. I don't know, fuck it. Adventure time, come on, grab your friends. And go dun 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 dun. It's adventure time. Chat, do you want to know some weird lore about me? No, that's too much. That's too much information, chat. I'm not going to tell you about that. No, I'm not telling you about that. I changed my mind. I was like, gee, you can't just tell people about these things. There are certain things you just should not talk about. Well, there's a human. There's a placenta attached to... It doesn't dox me. It does not dox me. Hello, Ari. How you doing? It just kind of, you know, it just exposes. Okay, chat. Have you ever read the book Procession of the Dead? Have you ever read the book Procession of the Dead? So in Procession of the Dead, there's a segment where this character talks about how he has the the best sex of his life, and he mentions that he does so by watching cartoons because he says it makes sex less serious and it's a lot more chill, and so like he's able just to kind of enjoy things, and it takes out like this need to perform. Mm-hmm. I need to make a stop, and I'm heading straight to the source of this ember. Okay. Yeah. That's all I'm going to tell you. Really am? I believe it. I did not say I watched tunes while pounding. I said that was in a story. Okay. Stop writing down shit. Stop it. There's the demon writing. Are those animals among the trees? Why are they staring at the lighthouse like this? Oh, crazy. It's one of my favorite books! It's one of my favorite books, and I showed it to a girl, and she hated it, by the way. I showed the book to a girl, and she hated it so much because it doesn't have... the main character doesn't get redeemed. There is no redemption for the main character, and I love it because of that. Because, like, I like a story where the person who's bad is bad, okay? You're not going to read it. If you do want to read it, Procession of the Dead. But she got so upset at me for recommending the book to her. I don't trust this person. You're gonna read it to stream? Bet. It's not too long. It's a shorter book. It's, I don't know, like 300, 400 pages, maybe. Nothing yet. His father seems worried. Interesting. Hello, Spider Queen, London. How you doing, London? Welcome back. But yes, it's written by Darren Shan, the same person who wrote Cirque du Freak. Very good. Procession of the Dead, the city. Or do you mean Cirque du Freak? Let's see what you got. Interesting, Casey. That's fair. Let's get a lucky totem. I need the luck. I feel like I could use the luck. Why was that door open? Why was that door open? Why is it locked now? Why was that door open? I'm trying to keep you safe. I'm trying. Don't worry about the screaming red chat. Hey, Amatsu, how you doing? Searching for frequency. Let's see what we have. Oh, wait. Come on, where is it? Where is it? There's a ship out there. I know I got it. Oh, nice. Have a good 3 weeks off. Come in, herd. The scientists are gathering all sorts of weird creatures. Guide us there. Okay. Send photo proof. Interesting. Interesting. All right, we're going to put this to the side. I like this. Man, I like this game. This game is cool. Okay, this game is cool. Oh, it's so freaking unique. I like this. I don't know what it is about this game, but it's like it feels like a job, but it feels like a fun job, okay? Oh shit. Food. 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 Yeah, but you see, I didn't like Not My Neighbor. I mean, Not My Neighbor was fine, but I feel like it was too repetitive. This feels like, because you're just like looking at the people. I feel like I'm doing more with this, you know? Now, don't get me wrong. I loved the music from Not My Neighbor because words are hard, chat. Words are hard. And like the environment. I mean, like, look at the environment. Not My Neighbor was a good idea of like how they made the game. I think it was like a good starter for that concept. But yeah. Come in. This is Vessel Pluto. Can you hear me?
Filth. The real Pluto arrived at the port 2 days ago. This is filth risen from the waves, seeking to flood the city. You want to protect your loved ones? Give Pluto to me. Know your place, pup. Hand your ship over to me, and you'll earn my favor. Refuse, and you'll feel my wrath. I'm watching you, Keeper.
Hey, Keeper, you're being watched.
And you'll do as I say, or very soon you'll disappear.
What do you want from me?
The Lighthouse is power. Power over light and dark, over fate itself. The power doesn't belong in the hands of insignificant insects. So either you prove yourself worthy, or I'll destroy you. Hand that ship over to me. Let the darkness swallow this filth.
Are you a copy of another ship? Chat. You know what we do. You know what we do. Straight to hell with ye. Straight to hell.
Power. No one can take it from you. Do you feel it? Use it, Keeper.
Oh, shit. Use your flashlight and ceiling lights to fight off spawns of darkness. Spawns of darkness! What do you mean, spawns of darkness? What do you want? I just came. Oh, what this world is coming to. Oh, Keeper, why is it so hard to be a parent? That's a good question. Keeper, why is it so hard to be a parent, Keeper? Answer me, Keeper. Come into the Lighthouse, wait for him here, grab yourself a drink, and I'll get some rest. Your boy will be back in the morning. I'll let you know when he turns up. That's fair. Now get back to work. There's plenty riding on you tonight. I think we're doing amazing, chat. Chat, how do you feel like you're doing? How are you all liking this game? Let's do a quick little checkup, everybody. Lovely, lovely lovies. How are you all liking this game? Are you all having a good time? That's a good game? It's an awesome game? Okay, okay. You've all been quiet, but I assume it's because you all are enjoying the game so much, right? Chat, you know I worry about you when you get quiet. I'm just like, oh no, Gene isn't being entertaining enough. Whatever will I do? I need to engage you more. All right, chat. Give me some math. Chat, what's 5 plus 5, chat? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. I'm glad you all are still vibes in and hanging out here. You can put me on the background. What did I say? I don't remember what I said. Okay, but I appreciate you all. 60 plus 9? 9. 10. 69. 69. Fuck, how did I say 10 when you said 60 plus 9? I'm the problem, chat. I said 10, and then I said 9. I said 5 plus 5? Oh, wait, I heard something. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No. Thank you. I'm glad I'm cute. I'm glad I'm cute at least. I got an anomaly I need to prove. Oh, what the hell is that? All right, we'll send you to the scientist. That's insane. That's insane. What do you mean you can't see? What the fart? Going to send you to the location you need to be at. Do. Oh, the pick was behind me. Good to know. I'll make sure I'll dodge. Should I change corners? Wait, chat. We're gonna change corners. Give me a second. We're oh. Hey, Neeks. Neeks, would you like a good bunny? Neeks, would you like a good bunny? Do you want to be called a good bunny, Neeks? Is that what you want, Neeks? Neeks, is that what you want? Is that what you're craving? There we go. We'll move over here. All right. Neeks, Neeks, Neeks. Hi there, little bun. You are such a good bunny, aren't you? Such a good little bun. There you go. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're heading into the harbor. What am I doing? Oh, we're getting EP. Chat, we're getting EPs. That door keeps opening and I don't like it, chat. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. Ari, I love that emote. We need a popcorn eating emote. We found them. 3 of them. They were on the ground with seizures. Looks like they withdrew. Never seen like something like this before. They're not so tough anymore without the ember. Lighthouse, come in. It's Myron Kamuchi from the fishing trawler Black Whale. We just returned from a trip and thought we had the biggest haul ever. All the fish are dead. Can you send proof? Ah. Yeah, nope, that's weird. What do you mean I can't tell you apart? I said, Ari, I like your popcorn eating emote. What do you mean? What was it? Huh? I'm so confused. What did I do? What did I say? What did I do, chat? No, I didn't. What do you mean? Huh? Oh, shit. Thank you. Thank you. What is it now? Please let me come up to the lighthouse and watch and see what... I can't do that, sorry. No means no. I can't have you go out to the lighthouse. Ah, fuck. Never mind. Chat bullying me. Chat bullying me without proof, chat. I need my money. Oh, come on. Leave the lights on. Neeks, sweetie. No, Neeks, come back. Neeks, don't leave me like this. You're gonna make me cry. Neeks, please. Bun, come back, Bun. Is everyone alive? Shoot, I guess we send them to Old Harbor. Please, Nix, please. You're one of my favorites. I need to keep you around. Oh, the light went off. Keeper, why'd you let the light go off again? Stop letting your light go out. Alright, that's fair, that's fair. Alright, we're gonna do a little review of this place. Good there. Three of them, they're on the ground with seizures. And the captain said that we're not anymore. Interesting. What? What the fuck? How did he get inside? Yeah, I think it's best we bring him here. You want your gummy worms? I have gummy worms for you. I'll get more gummy worms too, okay? You don't want to be pinned? Mm-hmm. My routine is finally settled. I sleep through most of the day, and in the evening I prepare for the duty, tending to the mechanisms. I still berate myself for the bribe, but I believe it was worth it. This lighthouse is perfect for us. I'm glad I could see that for myself without having to share it with the other vagrant workers. My family is still not here, and I'm starting to lose my peace of mind. Today I hired a boatman, gave me nearly all my savings, and sent him to look for them. Are they delayed by the weather, or did something worse happen? Save for another night. I'm so proud of you, darling. We miss you, but you have to keep going. What you're doing is very important for us and for everyone. Jackie's father will figure out how to help him, but sure of that. Maybe it will be good for Misty, too. True love doesn't go anywhere. You can do it, Daddy. Oh. What's this? Wait, what did Chubb say? Mm-hmm. That's fair. I'm proud of me too, wife. Okay. All right. Get pinned. Boo. About to scare the life clean out of me. Something's really wrong with the townkeeper, I'm telling you. I was minding my own business, and out of nowhere, this old lady comes running out of her house with a knife, hollering something fierce like a devil. I grabbed my sacks, and I ran faster than a rabbit. Thought my heart stopped. Came running straight to you. Close the house. She turned back. Maybe she just didn't want me gone. Ain't no clue. But hey, since I'm here, how about buying? All right, chat. What are we buying? What are we buying, chat? Oh, I have so little money. Ooh. Clam chowder, I guess. I'm heading back to work. Let's go fishing, chat. Chat, you are the demon that's being possessed. I always knew chat was demons. Come on, come on, fishy. Come on, fishy. Come on, fishy. Come on, fishy. You know you want it, fishy. Take it down. I fucked up. Okay. Hey. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Mm-hmm. Yay. Pickle facts, pickle facts, pickle facts. What are you doing with pickles? That's a fish. I see the fish. Come here, fishy, 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 fishy. Come here, fishy, 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 fishy. Fish. What are you, why? What are those cups? What are you? Oh, goofy. Absolutely goofy. Mm-hmm. That's fair. So you're just sending a bunch of random emotes, vibes. I guess that's it for today. No, damn it. Who keeps drawing all over the lighthouse? Which one of you is it, chat? Which one of you is it? One of you is drawing all over the lighthouse. I want everything. Give me both at the same time. Okay, so if I don't listen to the right message, the lighthouse won't open. Got it. So members of the Coast Guard, including Captain Drake, known for his fight against the drug trafficking, smuggling, blah, 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 blah. I don't like the chief, chat. The chief's evil. All right, chat. We're coming up on the end of stream here. We're coming up on the end of stream. It is now 8 p.m. about. So I hope you all had a lovely, lovely, lovely time. Yep, it's coming to the end, chat. Don't know me. Don't. We always stream the same amount. Did you? Well, maybe I'll play more of it. If you all enjoyed it, and you all, I'll bring it. Pink. Lovely, lovely Pink. You are such an incredible artist. You are such a wonderful person. You're just a joy to get to talk to and experience life with. And I really, really appreciate you, Pink. And you're very loved here. I hope you know that. Mwah. Thank you so much for the redeem, Pink. And thank you for being as incredible as you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it, everybody. I hope you all had a good stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. And yeah, maybe we'll do this again. We'll see. This might be a one-off. This might be, we'll play it again. I do want to play that other game that was mentioned, the Voidless something, or Voices of the Void. But yeah. Maybe next time I'll make sure I have some talking points, chat. I'll write down a bunch of stuff we can talk about. That way I'm not just playing the game and I can get you all to interact a little bit more too. Hi, Lola. Lola, we're about to be ending stream. Is the void beautiful? I believe the void is beautiful. Yep. We gotta find something to raid out to. Let's see who we got. Alexa, stop. There we go. It is officially hit the end of stream time. So let's see who we got. Oh! You want to go raid Capitalist? We can raid the Capitalist Goat. I love the Capitalist Goat. Oh, wait, but Lumi... you know what? Let's go raid Lumi. Lumi was here earlier. They're playing Observation Duty. Let's see how that's going. Wait, okay. Chat, we have options. We can raid... Finny Fins is playing Splatoon. We can raid the Goat. We can raid Lumi. We can raid Pomo. We can raid... Wait, there's too many people. Fuck it. We're going with my first gut. We're raiding the Goat. Chat, say hello to the Goat. We're raiding the Goat. The Goat's great. I love the Goat. The Goat's the best. Say hello to the Goat for me. And remember, chat, I refuse to pay my taxes. There you go, chat. That is a raid message. All right, lovelies. This was a lot of fun. I really, really, really appreciated you all. I'm going to go get some food because I'm starving. And I'll see you all next time, okay? You all be good. Promise? Promise you all be good? Chat, do you promise? Chat, I said promise. You're not allowed to leave until we're going to run the stream endlessly if you don't promise. I'm never ending stream. Just kidding. We're about to run out of stream time. All right. Goodbye, everybody. I'll miss you all so very, very much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And I'll see you all later, okay? Bye.